The first election in United States history is a momentous event that marked the dawn of a democratic process in a newly independent nation. The year was 1788, and the atmosphere was charged with anticipation and hope as the American people prepared to exercise their newly found sovereign right to vote. This was a pivotal moment that would set the tone for the future governance of a country born out of revolution and a fierce desire for self-determination. The election was held not in one day, as is customary today, but over several weeks, from December 15th, 1788 to January 10th, 1789. During this period, electors were chosen to represent the states in the selection of the first President of the United States. This was a time before political parties had established their stronghold on American politics. And thus, the candidates were largely guided by the ideological currents from the Constitutional Convention. A significant figure in this historical narrative was George Washington, a towering hero of the American Revolutionary War and a unifying figure of great respect and admiration. Washington's reluctance to assume such a powerful position only added to his allure. He did not campaign. Instead, he was elevated to prominence by consensus. His character and leadership were universally acknowledged, and this inaugural election saw him receive a unanimous choice from the Electoral College, a feat never repeated in U.S. history. The process itself was vastly different from what we know today. At that time, only free white men of property had the right to vote, a restriction reflective of the prevailing societal norms. The idea of universal suffrage was yet a distant dream, and voting was conducted through a system where each state determined the manner of selecting its electors. Some states chose to have their electors picked through legislative appointment, while others conducted a more direct voter selection process. Once the electors had been chosen, they convened on February 4th, 1789, to cast their votes. As expected, George Washington's leadership, patience, and reputation for integrity carried him to the presidency with unanimous support. John Adams, a leading advocate for independence and freedom, was named vice president, having received the second highest number of votes. This first election was a symbolic opening that laid the foundation for future democratic processes. It set a precedent for peaceful transitions of power, a hallmark of American democracy that many countries have admired and sought to emulate. Despite its limitations and the narrow franchise of its electorate, the election was a first step towards a more inclusive system of governance. From the shadows of a colonial past emerged a new nation, determined to forge its path with the principles of liberty and equality at its core, setting the stage for generations to come.